back, everybody. My name is Kaylani and I will be your educator again for this final lesson in our virtual stormwater program. As always, I encourage you to watch these videos with someone else you can share ideas with. It can be a family member, a neighbor, or even a pet. If it's just you, that's okay too. There will be opportunities for you to share your ideas with others throughout the lesson. So far, we've learned what stormwater is. We've talked a little bit about pervious and impervious surfaces. We've learned a little bit about how polluted stormwater can impact humans and our ecosystems. And today in our final lesson, we'll be thinking about those stormwater problems in our neighborhoods and how humans have come together to use engineering to solve those problems in their communities. For this lesson, you will need your drawing that we have been adding to from before. If you don't have it, that's okay. Go ahead and grab a piece of paper and something to write with. We can make something new. Our word for today is engineering. Engineering is when people use a process to design a solution to a problem. Can you think of a time that you have engineered something, maybe at home or at school? If you're having a hard time thinking of ideas, some examples could be building a sandcastle on the beach, and as the tide comes in, you might have built a dam or a moat to prevent the water from washing away your sandcastle. Maybe you've built a fort in your home or out in the woods to provide maybe a place for you to hide, to provide a nice cozy place for you to hang out, or to provide shelter if you're outside from the rain. We do engineering in our day-to-day probably without even realizing it, and going through something that we are going to be calling the engineering design process. The engineering design process can look many different ways, but this is the one that we'll be using today. Our process uses three main components: defining the problem, developing a solution, and optimizing your solution. When we're defining the problem, we want to think, well, what is the problem in the first place? Do we have flooding? Are the drains clogged? So that's the first step in our process. The next step is to research and develop solutions. What information might we need to solve this problem? What are some other ideas that other people have used to solve a similar problem? What kind of things might limit what we can do when we are coming up with a solution? The third step is to optimize the solution. Optimize means to improve or make better. So during this step, we might think about how we can learn from other engineers and their mistakes, or our mistakes, to improve on our design. So let's come back to our drawing that we have been adding to for the last few lessons. This should be a drawing of your neighborhood, showing where the water flows, pervious surfaces, impervious surfaces, and drains and gutters that help move the water through your community. If you don't have this, that's okay. Go ahead and grab a sheet of paper and something to write with. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start our engineering design process by defining the problem in our neighborhood. Some examples of stormwater problems could be a flooded street, clogged storm drains, pollution in the creek or a lake. Maybe the water is dirty or cloudy. There's a number of different problems that you might have seen. A problem that I've noticed is this puddle that collects oil from the cars in the parking lot that you can see in this video. Eventually that puddle empties out into this storm drain. On your drawing, go ahead and define the problem where you live. What is a stormwater problem that you have seen in your neighborhood? Go ahead and pause this video now and add that to your drawing. Now that you've defined the problem on your map, let's think about developing a solution. If creating a solution is to think about criteria for success. Think about the problem you identified. How will you know your solution is successful or if you solved the problem? Success can look many different ways depending on your problem. Maybe the area doesn't flood anymore when it rains. Maybe the grass isn't as muddy in the field that you'd like to play in, or the water isn't as dirty as it was before. Another part of creating a solution is considering your constraints. These are the things that limit what we can do. Do you have the time to put in a solution? Do you have enough money? Do you have expertise? Or maybe you need to ask somebody for help. Do you have the tools, the space, the resources? Is your solution realistic? Once we've thought about our constraints or our limits and our criteria for success, it's time to start looking into what other people have engineered or used as their solutions to solve a similar problem. You may already have some ideas for a solution, which is great. There's many ideas and options out there. But what we're going to do next is research some solutions that already exist to see if maybe there are some options out there that are a good fit to solve the problem that you've identified in your neighborhood. Stormwater planters are small containers of plants that gutters drain into. The plants and soil help to slow down and clean the water. I like to think of rain gardens kind of like shallow bowls. They're able to hold quite a bit of water and have special soil and plants that can stay wet for a while. Pervious ground is any kind of ground that lets the water soak in. This could be wood chips, soil, gravel, or bricks with spaces in between. Swales are similar to rain gardens but can hold even more water. They're like ditches on the side of the road or parking lots and can absorb water and soak up pollution. Rain barrels are another way to collect and hold water from our roofs. You can use the water in the rain barrel to maybe water your garden or wash your car. Trees are a really simple and cheap stormwater solution. The roots can help soak up some of the water, and the leaves can help slow the water down before it hits the ground. Detention ponds are one of the biggest stormwater solutions. They're human-made ponds that are designed to hold a lot of water. Green roofs are a great way to change a hard surface into a soft one, with plants and soil on the roof. It can even help keep your building cool during the summer. Now it's time to return to our drawing and start designing a solution. You can use one or more of the solutions that we just did some research on, or you can add one of your own. Up to you. Don't forget, remember your constraints. So here's the example of my home again and the puddle that collected all that oil that I showed you before. An example of a solution that I think would be a good choice here is a rain garden. I have enough space, and I think a rain garden would be a good option to put right under the gutters on each of the buildings. That way, the water from the roofs goes right into the rain garden instead of on the ground, where it'll collect the oil and go into the storm drains. Your solution should be something that you would like to see in your community. Don't forget, label the things on your drawing so that you and others know exactly what it is that you would like to see where you live. Go ahead and pause this video now and add your solution to your drawing. What kind of stormwater solution would you like to see in your neighborhood? The last part of the engineering design process is to optimize or improve your solution. Sometimes things don't work out the first time and can always be improved. Engineers are always working to make things better. We won't be able to get to this part without building the solution, but it's something to think about. Now that we've spent some time thinking about the ways that we can engineer solutions in our neighborhood, next time you're outside, take a look around. See what kind of stormwater solutions already exist where you live. Engineering is all around us and is a process that we use in our day-to-day without even realizing it. Now that you've learned a little bit more about stormwater and how that stormwater in your neighborhood impacts the ecosystems and the people around you, consider sharing what you know or what you've learned with your neighbors, your friends, or other people in your community. Who knows? Maybe you can help solve a problem or two. I want to thank you for taking this time to learn about stormwater with me. See you later.